Distractions are stealing your life. By AI Audiobooks Empire. Introduction. Distractions are the silent thieves of destiny. They do not announce themselves with alarms or warnings. They slip quietly into your hours, stealing focus, draining energy, and scattering your attention. They arrive disguised as harmless diversions. A quick glance at your phone, a moment of idle scrolling, a small indulgence in entertainment. Yet beneath the surface they erode discipline, weaken resolve, and fracture clarity. In a world filled with endless notifications, entertainment, and noise, distractions have become the invisible chains that bind us to mediocrity. This audiobook is about recognizing the true cost of distraction. It is about understanding that every moment stolen by trivial interruptions is a moment denied to your dreams, your health, your relationships, and your legacy. Distractions are not harmless. They are the subtle assassins of progress. They rob you not only of time but of meaning, not only of minutes but of momentum. They are the quiet saboteurs that prevent you from living deeply, thinking clearly, and acting intentionally. To underestimate distraction is to underestimate the greatest enemy of your potential. Your life is too valuable to be wasted on what does not matter. Every hour is a seed, and every seed has the power to grow into something significant, but only if it is planted in focus and nurtured with discipline. This narration will guide you through principles of clarity, intentional living, and wisdom-driven discipline, showing you how to reclaim your focus and protect your future. Because if you do not master distractions, they will master you. And if you allow them to rule your days, they will quietly steal your years. The choice is yours. Surrender to distraction, or rise above it to live a life of meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. If you are here listening, welcome to AI Audiobooks Empire. This channel is dedicated to bringing you stories, principles, and wisdom that uplift, empower, and transform lives. Every narration is crafted to inspire discipline, resilience, and intentional living, values that guide us toward becoming the best version of ourselves. Your support means the world. Every listen, every share, and every subscription helps us continue creating content that reaches hearts and strengthens minds. By engaging with this channel, you are not only encouraging the growth of this project, but you are also becoming part of a community that values wisdom, discipline, and purposeful living. Each time you share, you extend the reach of these principles to someone who may need encouragement, clarity, or motivation in their own journey. So let your support be more than a click. Let it be a contribution to a movement of growth and empowerment. Together, we can build a space where stories are not just heard, but lived out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for helping us continue this mission to inspire and elevate lives through the power of audiobooks. Now, let us begin our journey. Chapter 1. The Nature of Distraction. Distraction is not simply the act of being interrupted. It is the quiet erosion of presence, the scattering of attention, the surrender of your mind to what is trivial. It masquerades as harmless entertainment, but beneath the surface it weakens your resolve and diminishes your ability to concentrate. Distraction is subtle, often disguised as relaxation or taking a break, yet it slowly conditions your mind to prefer the shallow over the meaningful. It is not just the loss of a moment. It is the loss of depth, clarity, and intentionality. The danger of distraction lies in its deceptive comfort. Unlike failure, which is obvious and painful, distraction feels pleasant. It gives the illusion of rest, but it is actually avoidance. It convinces you that you are busy, yet you are busy with nothing of consequence. It whispers that you are engaged, but in truth you are drifting. Distraction is the counterfeit of productivity. It looks like activity, but it produces nothing of value. And because it feels harmless, it is more dangerous than outright failure. To understand distraction is to see it for what it truly is, a thief. It steals not only minutes but meaning. It robs you of the ability to live deeply, to think clearly, and to act intentionally. It is the silent assassin of dreams, the quiet saboteur of progress, the invisible barrier between you and your potential. Distraction does not demand your surrender in one grand moment. It takes your life in fragments, piece by piece, until you wake up realizing that years have passed and little of significance has been achieved. To master your life, you must first master distraction, for it is the enemy that hides in plain sight. Chapter 2. The Cost of Lost Focus. Focus is the currency of achievement. Without it, even the most gifted mind cannot produce excellence. Distraction drains focus, scattering your energy across countless trivialities. It is like pouring water into a sieve. No matter how much effort you exert, nothing is retained. Focus is the lens that magnifies effort into results, and when that lens is fractured by distraction, clarity disappears. The mind becomes restless, jumping from one shallow task to another, never diving deep enough to produce mastery. Every time you shift from one task to another, your brain pays a tax. This tax accumulates, leaving you exhausted yet unproductive. Scientists call it attention residue, the lingering fragments of thought left behind when you abandon one activity for another. These fragments clutter your mental space, slowing your ability to concentrate and diminishing your capacity to think critically. The cost of distraction is not just wasted time. It is diminished capacity. It is the erosion of your ability to sustain effort, to enter flow, to reach the state where creativity and productivity merge into excellence. When focus is lost, progress halts. Dreams remain unfinished, goals remain unmet, and potential remains unrealized. The death of focus is the death of momentum. Without momentum, even the most ambitious vision collapses under the weight of inconsistency. Lost focus means lost opportunities. The book that could have been written, the business that could have been built, the skill that could have been mastered. The tragedy of distraction is not that it steals minutes, but that it steals futures. To protect your destiny, you must protect your focus, for it is the engine that drives every achievement worth pursuing. Chapter 3. Distraction and Time Theft. Time is the most precious resource you possess. Unlike money, it cannot be earned back. Unlike possessions, it cannot be replaced. Every moment wasted on distraction is a moment surrendered forever. Time is the silent currency of life, and every second you spend is a transaction that cannot be reversed. When you allow distractions to consume your hours, you are not simply losing minutes. You are forfeiting pieces of your destiny. The tragedy is that most people do not realize the theft until it is too late, when the days have already slipped into years. Distractions steal time in small increments. A few minutes here, a few minutes there, until hours vanish unnoticed. The danger lies in their subtlety. Rarely does distraction demand an entire day. Instead, it nibbles away at your schedule, leaving you with fragments too small to build anything meaningful. The tragedy is not just the loss of time, but the loss of what that time could have built. Those stolen minutes could have been invested in learning a skill, nurturing a relationship, or advancing a dream. Instead, they dissolve into nothingness, leaving behind only regret. The cost of distraction is not measured in minutes but in missed opportunities. It is the book unwritten, the skill unlearned, the relationship neglected. It is the business idea that never took shape because the hours needed to nurture it were spent scrolling through trivialities. It is the health that deteriorated because the time meant for exercise was consumed by entertainment. Distraction does not simply waste time. It robs you of the future those hours could have created. To guard your life, you must guard your time, for once it is stolen, it can never be returned. Chapter 4. Distraction and Health. Health requires discipline. Exercise, nutrition, rest. These are not occasional acts, but daily commitments. They are the foundation upon which energy, vitality, and longevity are built. Yet distraction interferes with these commitments, convincing you to delay, to neglect, to indulge. It whispers that you can skip the workout today, that you can eat carelessly just this once, that you can stay up late and recover tomorrow. But tomorrow rarely arrives as planned, and the body quietly accumulates the consequences of neglect. Scrolling late into the night steals sleep. Choosing entertainment over movement steals strength. Ignoring discipline for comfort steals vitality. Distraction does not simply rob you of minutes. It robs you of resilience. Sleep debt weakens the immune system. Poor nutrition diminishes energy, and lack of exercise erodes stamina. What feels like harmless indulgence in the moment becomes a slow erosion of health over time. The body is honest. It reflects the choices you make daily, and distraction is often the reason those choices are compromised. The cost of distraction in health is weakness, fatigue, and illness. It is the erosion of the very foundation that carries you through life. Without health, even the greatest dreams cannot be pursued. Distraction convinces you that health can wait, but the truth is that health cannot be postponed. Every day you neglect it, you borrow from your future self, leaving them weaker, more fragile, and less capable. To protect your destiny, you must protect your health, and that means guarding it against the thief of distraction. Chapter 5. Distraction in Relationships. Relationships thrive on presence. They require attention, listening, and care. Distraction robs relationships of these essentials, pulling your mind away from the people who matter most. You may sit at the dinner table with your family, but your eyes are on a screen. You may stand beside a friend, but your thoughts are elsewhere. Presence is not just physical. It is emotional, mental, and spiritual. Without it, relationships weaken, because love cannot be nurtured in absence. When your mind is elsewhere, you miss the subtle cues of love, the quiet needs of those around you. A child's laughter, a partner's sigh, a friend's silence. These are signals that require your attention. Yet distraction blinds you to them. You may be physically present but emotionally absent, and absence breeds distance. Over time, those you love begin to feel unseen, unheard, and unvalued. Distraction convinces you that you will reconnect later, but later often becomes never. The cost of distraction in relationships is distance. It is the slow erosion of intimacy, the weakening of trust, the loss of connection. Love is not sustained by occasional grand gestures. It is sustained by daily presence, by consistent attention, by the willingness to give your time fully. When distraction steals these moments, it steals the very fabric of relationship. To protect your bonds, you must protect your focus. Because in the end, relationships are not built in the extraordinary, but in the ordinary moments you choose to be fully present. Chapter 6. Distraction in Work and Dreams. Dreams are fragile. They require consistent effort, focus, and discipline to grow into reality. They are like seeds planted in the soil of your daily actions, needing water, sunlight, and care. Yet distraction undermines this effort, scattering your energy across trivial pursuits. Instead of nurturing the seed, you spend your hours chasing noise, leaving your vision malnourished. Dreams cannot survive neglect. They demand attention, and distraction is the silent poison that starves them. Work delayed becomes backlog. Goals postponed become forgotten. Dreams neglected become abandoned. Distraction convinces you that you will return to them later, but later often never arrives. The unfinished project gathers dust, the unwritten book remains a thought, the business idea fades into memory. Each delay is a betrayal of your own potential, a quiet surrender to mediocrity. The tragedy is not that you lacked ability, but that you allowed distraction to steal the hours meant for progress. The cost of distraction in work and dreams is stagnation. It is the silent death of potential, the tragedy of a vision never realized. Distraction does not destroy your dreams in one dramatic moment. It erodes them slowly, day by day, until nothing remains but regret. To protect your future, you must protect your focus. Work requires discipline, and dreams require devotion. If you allow distraction to dominate your hours, you will wake one day to find that your dreams have slipped away, not because they were impossible, but because you were too distracted to pursue them. Chapter 7. The Illusion of Productivity. Distraction often disguises itself as productivity. You feel busy, yet you are busy with nothing that matters. You check emails, scroll feeds, attend meetings, shuffle papers, but none of these bring you closer to your vision. The illusion of productivity is seductive because it gives you the satisfaction of activity without the substance of progress. It convinces you that motion is enough, that busyness is achievement, when in reality you are simply spinning in circles. The illusion of productivity is dangerous because it convinces you that you are progressing. In reality, you are mistaking motion for meaning. You may fill your calendar with tasks, but if those tasks are not aligned with your priorities, they are distractions in disguise. True productivity is not measured by how much you do, but by how much of what you do actually matters. Without clarity, busyness becomes a trap, a cycle of endless activity that leaves you exhausted but unfulfilled. The cost of this illusion is wasted energy. It is the exhaustion of busyness without the reward of achievement. You pour yourself into tasks that do not move the needle, and at the end of the day, you feel drained yet dissatisfied. The illusion of productivity robs you of focus, steals your time, and blinds you to what truly matters. To escape it, you must learn to distinguish between activity and progress, between distraction and discipline. Only then can your efforts produce fruit, and only then will your busyness transform into meaningful achievement. Chapter 8. The Trap of Comfort. Distractions often appeal to comfort. They offer escape from effort, relief from discipline, and indulgence in ease. Comfort whispers that you deserve to relax, that you can postpone the hard work, that tomorrow will be a better time to begin. Yet comfort today often becomes regret tomorrow. What feels like harmless indulgence in the moment quietly accumulates into patterns of avoidance. Comfort is seductive because it feels good now, but it blinds you to the long-term consequences of neglect. Choosing distraction over discipline feels harmless in the moment. You tell yourself that one skipped workout, one delayed project, one ignored responsibility will not matter. But over time, these small choices accumulate into wasted years. The trap of comfort is that it does not destroy your life in a single blow. It erodes it slowly, day by day, until you wake up realizing that opportunities have passed and potential has been squandered. Comfort is temporary, regret is permanent. The ease you choose today becomes the burden you carry tomorrow. The cost of distraction is not just lost progress. It is the pain of knowing you chose ease over growth, indulgence over discipline, and comfort over courage. It is the realization that while you were busy seeking relief, your dreams were slipping away. Comfort convinces you to settle, but discipline pushes you to strive. To escape the trap of comfort, you must learn to embrace discomfort, for it is discomfort that fuels growth, strengthens character, and builds resilience. Comfort may soothe you for a moment, but only discipline will secure your future. Chapter 9. Distraction and Character. Character is revealed in how you handle distraction. Do you surrender to it, or do you resist it? Do you allow it to dictate your actions, or do you master it with discipline? Every moment of temptation is a test of integrity. Distraction is not just about losing focus. It is about revealing the strength or weakness of your inner resolve. The way you respond to distraction shows whether you are ruled by impulse or guided by principle. Every time you resist distraction, you strengthen your will. Each small act of discipline builds resilience, fortifies your mind, and shapes your identity. Conversely, every time you surrender, you weaken your resolve, teaching yourself that comfort is more important than commitment. Character is not built in grand gestures but in these small battles, repeated daily. The choice to stay focused when distraction calls is the choice to honor your values over your impulses. The cost of distraction is not just external. It is internal. It shapes who you are becoming. A distracted life produces a distracted character, restless, inconsistent, and easily swayed. But a disciplined life produces a disciplined character, steady, trustworthy, and resilient. Distraction is not merely stealing your time. It is shaping your identity. And the person you become tomorrow will be the sum of the choices you make today. To protect your character, you must protect your focus, for character is destiny, and distraction is its silent enemy. Chapter 10. Guarding Against Distraction. Guarding against distraction requires intentional boundaries. It means setting limits on technology, protecting your focus, and prioritizing what matters. Distraction thrives in environments without structure, where your attention is left unguarded and vulnerable to every noise, notification, and temptation. To guard against it, you must build walls around your time, treating your focus as sacred. This means designing routines that protect your energy, creating spaces free from interruption, and committing to habits that reinforce clarity. Boundaries are not restrictions. They are shields that preserve your ability to live with purpose. It requires discipline to say no to noise, courage to resist comfort, and wisdom to choose clarity. Discipline is the muscle that strengthens every time you resist the pull of distraction. Courage is the willingness to endure discomfort, to embrace silence, and to walk away from what is easy but meaningless. Wisdom is the compass that helps you discern what deserves your attention and what does not. Guarding against distraction is not a single act, but a daily practice, a conscious decision to protect your mind from being scattered. It is the art of choosing depth over shallowness, substance over triviality, and vision over impulse. The reward of guarding against distraction is freedom. Freedom to live deeply, to think clearly, to act intentionally. When you master distraction, you reclaim your time, your energy, and your focus. You are no longer enslaved to the demands of noise. You become the master of your own attention. This freedom allows you to pursue your dreams with clarity, to nurture your relationships with presence, and to live your life with meaning. Guarding against distraction is not about denying yourself pleasure. It is about protecting your destiny. For in the end, the quality of your life will be determined not by how often you were entertained, but by how often you were focused. Chapter 11. The Power of Focused Living. Focused living is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. It is about aligning your actions with your values, your time with your vision, and your energy with your goals. Focused living is the art of clarity, the ability to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, between what is noise and what is necessity. It is not about filling your schedule with endless tasks, but about filling your life with meaningful pursuits. When you live with focus, every action becomes intentional, every choice becomes purposeful, and every day becomes a step toward your destiny. When you live with focus, distractions lose their power. They may tempt, but they cannot control. Focus is the shield that protects your attention from being scattered, the anchor that keeps you steady in the storm of noise. It is the discipline to say no to what does not matter, the courage to resist the pull of comfort, and the wisdom to choose depth over shallowness. Focused living does not mean you will never face distraction. It means distraction will no longer dictate your life. It becomes background noise, powerless against the clarity of your vision. The reward of focused living is progress. It is the joy of achievement, the fulfillment of purpose, the peace of clarity. Progress is meandered in speed but in direction, and focus ensures that your direction is aligned with your values. The fruit of focused living is not only success but significance. The ability to look back and know that your days were not wasted on trivialities, but invested in what truly mattered. Focused living transforms your life from scattered fragments into a coherent story, a narrative of discipline, growth, and meaning. It is the difference between drifting aimlessly and walking intentionally toward the future you are meant to build. Chapter 12. Designing a Life Free of Distraction. Your life can be designed intentionally. You are not a victim of distraction, nor are you powerless against its pull. You can choose routines that protect focus, habits that build discipline, and boundaries that guard against noise. Designing a life free of distraction begins with clarity, knowing what matters most and refusing to surrender those priorities to trivial interruptions. It is about treating your time as sacred, your attention as valuable, and your destiny as worth protecting. Designing a life free of distraction means choosing priorities, eliminating noise, and living with clarity. It requires courage to say no to what is popular but meaningless, and wisdom to say yes to what is difficult but essential. It means creating systems that reinforce discipline, setting aside time for deep work, carving out space for reflection, and building rhythms that nurture growth. A distraction-free life is not about isolation. It is about intentionality. It is about living with purpose rather than drifting aimlessly through the noise of modern life. The reward of this design is fulfillment. It is the life you were meant to live, free from the chains of distraction. It is the joy of knowing your days are invested in what truly matters, the peace of clarity guiding your choices, and the strength of discipline shaping your character. A life free of distraction is not a life without pleasure, but a life where pleasure is chosen wisely, where rest is intentional, and where every moment contributes to your vision. To design such a life is to reclaim your future, to rise above the noise, and to walk with focus toward the destiny you were created to fulfill. Closing summary. Distractions are stealing your life. They rob you of time, health, relationships, dreams, and character. They disguise themselves as comfort and productivity, but beneath the surface they erode your destiny. They do not strike loudly or suddenly. They creep in quietly, stealing minutes that become hours, hours that become years. The tragedy of distraction is not only in the time it takes, but in the life it prevents you from living. But you can choose differently. You can guard your focus, protect your priorities, and design a life of clarity. You can resist the thief of distraction and reclaim your future. The power lies in intentionality, in choosing discipline over indulgence, clarity over noise, and purpose over triviality. Every decision you make is a seed planted in the soil of your destiny. If you plant distraction, you will harvest regret. If you plant focus, you will harvest fulfillment. So let this be your reminder: guard your hours. Protect your focus. Live intentionally. Do not surrender your days to the shallow comforts of distraction, for they will rob you of the deep joy of achievement. Your future self is watching, and it will inherit the discipline, or the neglect, of your choices today. Choose wisely, for your destiny is not shaped in grand moments alone, but in the quiet, daily victories over distraction. The life you long for is waiting, but only if you are willing to protect it from the thief that steals silently: distraction. Thank you for watching and listening to this audiobook. I am truly grateful for your time and attention, and I hope the principles shared here inspire you to apply them in your own journey. Remember, wisdom only becomes powerful when it is lived out, when it moves beyond words and becomes action. If this message has encouraged you, I invite you to share it with others so they too may benefit and grow. Growth multiplies when wisdom is passed forward, and your act of sharing could be the spark that helps someone else begin their own journey of discipline, clarity, and focus. Carry these lessons with you, apply them with intention, and let your actions speak louder than words. Guard your hours, protect your focus, and live intentionally, because your future self is watching, and it will inherit the discipline or the neglect of your choices today. The end.